So, welcome everyone to our study planning workshop for 2024. My name is Lumisa and I am the student support coordinator here at IBTC. And tonight with me is Claire, who's the student services manager. And we'd really like to welcome you guys here tonight with us. We really appreciate you guys joining us tonight. And I hope you guys are going to find the session very helpful. And yeah. So today's agenda, we're going to cover the importance of study planning, and we also going to share a few key items to take into consideration when you're planning your studies. And also I'll be taking you guys through a practical example of how to actually plot your study plan, and also share a few tips and tricks for your studies in the future. And then towards the end of the session, we're just going to open the floor for any Q&A sessions. So just before we start, I just have like a few house rules, maybe 2 house rules. Can you please just leave your mic muted if you're not speaking or saying anything? If you do have a question, feel free to raise your hand or just ask the question on the chat box, and Claire will attend to that. Or alternatively, you can just keep your question for our Q&A discussion. So before I proceed, we just have a study plan poll quiz that we can put on the chats. If you can please just answer it. It's just for icebreaker. I don't know if you guys can see. I've launched it. Can you guys see the study poll?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay. So I'll give you guys maybe 3 minutes. Is that fair enough to maybe just...
Yeah, I think
Okay.
everyone's at it. That's great.
Yeah, just 3 minutes maybe to just answer the study plan poll.
We have a few more people joining now.
Yeah.
For those of you that have just joined us, I'm not sure, can you see the poll that's on the screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. You guys can just click on the options.
Okay.
Okay, we've had 49 people so far completing the poll. 50.
Really?
Yeah,
It's not
51.
showing on my end though.
Isn't it? Okay.
It's literally sitting on 0 out of 58.
Really?
But it's
Wow.
okay, as long as you can see it. So that's
I
also
can see it.
yeah.
It's looking good. Yeah, it's looking good. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let me share the results with you guys. So 27 people said that they don't have a study plan at all. It's 51%. So that's really why we're here today, right? So thank you for all completing the poll. Some of you guys have created a study plan, but you hardly use it. And then 22% say that you have created a study plan, you're pretty organized, you've got daily and weekly task lists. So for you, this might be a little bit of a refresher, and you are welcome as we go to kind of say, I do it this way or I do it that way. We
Yeah.
want the session to be interactive.
Very
Yeah.
interactive.
Okay. Clippy, do you want to just talk a little bit about quickly just about yourself, what your job is, and
Okay.
yeah.
So on a
Sorry, I'm
high
putting you on the
level,
spot.
yes, you, but that's also fine. So on a high level, like I said, I'm the student support coordinator. So I think it's self-explanatory. I'm here to actually support students through the study journeys. I work closely with the tutor department of IBTC. So if students have any queries related to the content, or they have questions that they don't understand, or anything related to the study or to the study material content, they can just email us, and then I'm here to support them and just help them get the answers. I'm here basically to support you guys throughout your study journey, just to make sure that you actually, I have a smooth, not really smooth, but like I have a smooth sailing study journey with us. So I'm here to support you. I'm here for you basically.
Nice, Kenny.
So
I think
yeah.
just also
Yeah,
maybe
go
to
ahead.
add to that is that you have been a student yourself and you are pretty, what is it? You have a master's in, remind
Uh,
me again.
So I have a master's in business management, where I completed my research. So I'm a fresh student myself. So I really do know how important it is to actually have, a study plan, have a study schedule, and how helpful it is to actually have a study schedule, being a student myself. And because it really just helps you structure your studies, like, and just helps you to not be stressed or anything like that, helps you to, get things done. So yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
me. Do you
Mm.
maybe wanna also let me put you on the spot to Claire?
Yes, so I don't even have my camera on. Give me a second
Okay.
so you guys can all see my face.
Bless us with your face.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so hi guys, my name is Claire Domnakis. I am the Student Experience Manager at IBTC. So my job really is to look after the whole student services team. So basically, once you've made your booking and you've done your payment, then you get handed over to me and my team to look after you, your study journey. So yeah, that's really my job. Yeah, it's a big job. Lots of
Yeah.
things going on, and one of the things and why we wanted to set up this session, just to give you a little bit of background, is that we found by talking to a lot of the students, especially I suppose as the entry level students and as you go up, students were really struggling around getting a little bit of structure into their studies. Um, and you can see from the poll that a lot of students don't have a study plan at all, and you kind of just wing it. And then what happens is that life actually takes over, and you procrastinate and procrastinate. It's like when you join the gym, right? Unless you really commit to it, you're never actually going to go to gym.
Yeah.
So we wanted to just share the session with you, and we're bringing in Khulumisa's experience. So she's kind of set this up for us, and we wanted to share with you guys how to actually approach your study plan.
Study planning.
And I'm going to stop talking now and hand you back over to Klumi. But it's lovely to
Thanks,
have you all
Claire.
here. Um, yeah, it's really, really great. I love connecting with all of you guys. Some of you might have spoken to me before, and yeah, looking forward to the session tonight. Okay, so back
Thanks,
over
Claire.
to you, Klumi. I'll
Thank you,
stop
Claire.
stealing your limelight.
Thanks, Clay. So I'm just also going to turn off my camera just for connectivity and network issues. But just to recap again on what we're going to discuss on today's agenda, I think I've already done the welcoming. So we're also going to talk about why a study plan or study schedule is very important. I'm going to share with you key things to actually take into consideration when you're planning your studies. And I'll also be taking you guys through a practical study plan schedule on Excel on how to actually plot your hours and and then I'm also going to share a few tips with you for your studies that are going to be very helpful for your studies in the future. And then we're going to have a nice discussion session where we're just going to have a few questions and ask answers, and then we're just going to engage, and then we're just going to share the next steps with you guys. So that's what we have on today's agenda for today's workshop. Does anyone have any questions before I just proceed? Can you guys hear me clearly? Can you guys hear me clearly? Maybe just thumbs up as an
Yes, we can.
indication.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Oh, what's my name? My name is Lumisa. Sorry. My name is Lumisa. I am the Senior Student Support Coordinator here at IBTC. Okay. Next slide, please, Claire. So can anyone maybe, you can either raise your hand and you can unmute yourself, or you can also just use the chat box. Why do you guys think a study plan is important? Like, what does a study plan or a study schedule do to you? What difference does it make to you? Or what do you think would you benefit if you have a study plan? You can just also maybe raise your hand, unmute yourself, and maybe share your thoughts on it, or use the chat box. There's a lot of content to go through. That's true. That's true. So that's why a study plan is actually really, really helpful, as it actually helps you structure the content that you need to go through. Anyone else? Anyone
Tila
else?
says time management. Jelani says to keep you within
Oh,
your planned study timeline and to be accountable.
yeah.
Yeah.
Helps you with
So
your
that you don't waste
structuring.
time.
That's
Hmm.
so true. We tend to get
Yeah.
carried away, like Claire said, we tend to get carried away with all your personal other stuff involved, and then we tend to like kind of like procrastinate with our studies and all that. So having a study schedule is really, really gonna help you, helps you focus. Yes, I like the have an objective and an end goal. That's true. It helps you check your progress. So true. Helps you manage your time, keeps you focused. Yes, yes, yes. So I totally agree with everyone's points here on the chats. As you guys can see, kind of aligns as to what I also have here on the screen, that it kind of helps you structure your content. It helps you be more organized and it helps you to focus well. It also really helps with your time management as you would know what to do when, at which specific time slots of the day or which specific days of the week. It also helps you keep your goal very clear and it kind of helps you focus on your end goal. For example, let's say your goal would be to, let's say, pass E1. This is just an example. It can be anything else. But let's say your goal is actually to pass E1. Having a study schedule kind of helps you achieve that goal because you basically structure it properly. You do everything. Yeah, it helps you basically structure your studies very well. It also helps you reduce your stress, because once you have a schedule and you know what to do when, you kind of stress less because you kind of feel more in control of your studies instead of having anxiety attacks of not knowing what to do when. I'm sorry, I'm also reading the chat. It helps you break down the goal into manageable tasks. That is so true. It helps you break your goals basically to short-term goals and long-term goals. We are gonna dive deeper into that when I'm taking you guys through the practical example. And so that's what a study plan basically helps you for, and why it's so important to actually have a study plan. With all that being said, it also helps you to be exam ready because you would have went through all the content that you needed to go through before your exam and not have saved your studies for like last minute or going through everything the last week. So having a schedule and doing what you need to do at the specific time slots, it kind of helps you become exam ready and hopefully achieving your goal of passing your subject. So that is why I think a study plan is very, very important. And by the looks of the chats, I feel like all of you guys do agree with me, unless anyone has anything else, any additional important contributor to a study plan.
I think just what I
Sorry.
liked from
Yeah,
some of
yeah,
these comments for me is somebody just said, Sunny said, it helps you to
yeah.
be committed. I think that's so important.
Yeah.
Like I was using the example earlier, is that you can go and get a gym contract, but then if you never
Mm,
actually hold yourself accountable,
true.
and if you don't have a plan, what are you holding yourself accountable to?
Accountable for.
So
That's so
yeah,
true.
yeah,
I
very
like
true.
that.
Mm,
So yeah,
nice one. Thanks, Sunny.
thanks guys. And then moving forward would be the key things to actually consider when you're planning your study schedule or study plan. So basically, these are the key things that I actually took into consideration before I actually drafted my study plan, which I will take you guys through just after this. So I'll just highlight a few things that I took into consideration, which is first and foremost, having a goal is very, 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 very important because it kind of like directs you as to what you want to achieve. So maybe on the chat box, or maybe you can just unmute yourself also. What are your what are your short-term goals for this semester? What do you guys want to achieve by this semester? My example is that I want to actually pass, or rather write my E1 by the 15th of May. So that's my goal. So basically, I drafted my study schedule around that goal. Okay, I see someone saying something on the group. Okay, to sit the operational case study exam in May or August, and okay, that's good. How's that going? How's that coming along, if I may ask? Do you have a plan for this goal? Have you started? I mean, May is around the corner. So I'd like to believe that maybe you've already started. Do you maybe have a plan that you would want to share with us? You can unmute yourself, maybe. Pass E2 on
Oh,
the 5th.
sorry, I'm looking for it. So that's the reason why I
Yeah.
joined this session, because I just need to get through my on-demand exams. I'm
Yeah.
hoping to write my F1 soon,
Okay.
within the next couple of weeks, and then E1 and P1 as well.
All
Hence
right.
the May, August.
Uh,
Um,
date.
yeah,
Okay.
I keep pushing it because the moment I do the mock exams, I'm like, I don't know anything, and then I push it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that. So I think you at the right place. I really hope this is going to be very, very helpful. But yeah, okay, I hear you. And then me to pass E2 on the 5th of April, to pass my last two subjects in my HRM N6. Okay, to write first week after last class. All right. So basically, let me share a few things that I took into consideration when I was drafting my plan. Like I said, to have a clear goal, what you want to achieve. Because once you have a clear goal set up, it kind of like directs you, it kind of like helps you also plot or rather schedule your plan very well. And the second thing, and I think the very most important thing also, well, not one of the most important things is to actually understand the syllabus. And what I mean by this is, for example, if you are planning to finish your E1 subject, right? You know that in the table of content, when you receive your study material, right, there's usually like a table of content or like an overview of the breakdown of things that you need to kind of like get through for this specific module. Once you understand that and what you need to get through and how many pages or rather how many topics you need to get through to pass, it kind of helps you slot those topics accordingly. I'll explain it much better when I'm actually taking you guys through it. But understanding the syllabus and also just breaking down the subjects into like weekly, let's say maybe you want to do 2 to 3 topics in a week or 4 topics in a week. It kind of helps you basically slot your times in your study schedule. And then also being aware of your current schedule. And what I mean by this is that if you are a working person, you need to take your working hours into consideration when you're starting your study plan. If you have a family, you need to take a lot of things into consideration. For example, what time you need to go drop the kids off from school, what time you need to go fetch the kids off from school. If it's someone's birthday, you need to take all those other things into plan also when you are drafting your study plan schedule, and all your other personal stuff. If you have gym in the morning, or I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Basically, you need to take your current schedule into consideration also when you're drafting your study plan schedule. And also having breaks, please do include breaks, because that's very, very important, or else you will drown. I mean, I feel like a break, we really need to take a break after, studying and after all the other admin stuff that we deal with in life. So taking breaks is very, very important. And also just on a regular basis, just review your study schedule and also just change it and reflect on it and just adjust it so that it actually, so that it actually still aligns with what you do. So if, let's say, for example, if you draft a study schedule today and you find out after 1 week that it doesn't work, please feel free to actually adapt, change it so that it actually does work. So a study plan, if it's not fixed, basically, it's kind of like flexible, you can change it. So these are the few things that I took into consideration when I was drafting the study plan, which I will be taking you guys through it right now. Before I continue, anyone has questions or remarks or anything that you guys want to share?
I liked what was it, Huawei P30 Lite, didn't give a name, but to have the guts to actually book the E3 exam. That was very
Yeah.
cool.
Oh yeah, I see.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
I love
true.
that. Very cool. Yeah, I think thanks for that, Klimisa. I think for me, and
Yeah.
maybe some the students can also share, is just having that plan gives you that structure.
Mm-hmm.
Um and being able to have an end date in mind. Because what I do find with a lot of students is that if you don't have that, you tend to just procrastinate and you never actually get it done. And I can't tell you how many students I speak to on a day-to-day basis that have actually fallen off the wagon. Life got in the way. Oh, thank
Mm.
you, Pearl. I see she said her name is Pearl. Yeah, so I really like that. Anyone else wanna share about
The
what we said
experiences.
so far? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone have a study plan and didn't work?
Maybe you want to
Um,
share it and show us.
okay, perfect. I think you can
Can
have it
proceed.
on. Yeah.
Okay. So thanks, Claire. So I like to call this my study hub. It's like a workbook, like an Excel workbook, where I have my plans from week 1 to week 8, broken down exactly what I need to do every day, which time slots. Yeah, you guys will see the picture. But as my cover page, basically, as you guys can see here, I basically broken down my long-term goal into my short-term goals also. And also I then had my time frame. Like Clay said, it's actually very, very important to actually have a date as to when you want to achieve these goals, because it kind of like keeps you motivated and you have something that you're working towards. So so these are my due dates that I would want to write my E1, and these are my short-term goals of which I would want to have completed them. So like I mentioned earlier on, that my goal is to actually pass E1 exam by the 15th of March. And then for myself to get to this goal, I need to have short-term goals, which would be first and foremost to actually create a study plan, which I did just now, and I'll take you guys through it. And also just to go, and then I also have a goal to maybe manage to get through 2 to 3 topics in a week. Your goal can be maybe to study 10 pages, 10 pages a day or 20 pages a day. It will differ. So this is just basically my goal. And yeah. So this is what I have on my front cover. And then you will see here that I actually added, maybe if you add like a motivational quote, or rather your why, because I feel like that will be your motivational quote. Once you know why you started something, it kind of like motivates you every day.
Sorry, Trimi,
Yeah.
to interrupt. One of the
Yeah.
students is saying that there's nothing on the screen. Can the
Can
rest
you
of you
guys not
guys
see?
just
Yeah,
can you
we can see
see?
fine.
We can see
Okay.
the
Can see.
screen.
Okay. Sunny, I think it might be something on your
Settings, maybe?
PC. You can try and click on the little blocky that says IBTC facilitate and then back on the shared screen to see if it comes up. Okay, sorry about that.
No stress, no stress. I
You
can't
can
see
carry
the
on.
chats.
No,
So
no, it's fine. I'm
let me
monitoring the
know.
chat. Don't worry. You can carry
Okay.
on.
I can carry on. Is she fine?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I'll chat with her on the side.
Okay, thanks, Clay. Like I said, I'm having a motivational quote, and I put it in brackets, your why. It's kind of like your motivational quote, like having to remind yourself on a daily or even on a weekly, remind yourself as to why you enrolled for this course. Why are you doing this course? And once you actually remind yourself on a daily, it keeps you motivated. For example, let's say my why is to pass my strategic case study because of I want to earn more at my work, or because of I want a qualification. Having that in my mind, or having that at the back of my mind, it kind of always in days where I feel like giving up, and then I see my why, it kind of keeps me motivated to get back on track. So yeah, it's just an advice. If you want to, you can just add it there. So that's my cover page of my study hub. And then what we have here is basically the syllabus breakdown, which I think I mentioned earlier on. It's very, very important to understand the syllabus breakdown, and also kind of like estimate how many hours it will take you to actually cover these different topics. And like I said also in my previous slide, is that my goal is to get through 2 to 3 topics in a week. So like you guys can see in week 1 that I've scheduled to get through at least 3 topics. And I've allocated estimated hours per topic that I think it would take me to get through. So you will see that introduction, I think I said that it would take me 2 hours to get through. For other people, it might take you less, it might take you more. So obviously feel free to just also like adjust your estimated hours, and so that it suits you. So this is basically how I broke down the syllabus into 8, well, let's say 6 weeks, because this from week 1 to week 6 is just going to be content where I'll be going through all the content that I will need for E1, and then week 7 and 8 are then used for mock exams, and I use it as my revision weeks. So yeah, so that is how I broke down my syllabus breakdown. I don't know if you guys have any questions before I
Yeah, I
proceed.
think, Trimi, just to add to that, the
Yeah,
content
yeah.
breakdown in terms of the estimated hours, you can actually find the study plans that are on our website that have got the estimated hours on them already. Okay. So this is
Yeah.
just like a guideline, and we'll share the link for that as well. This is just a guideline in terms of how long it should take. Some topics might take you longer than
Longer.
what's estimated here, and some might take you quicker. Okay, but this is just
Yeah.
something to start with. Okay.
Yeah. And like Clay said, the study breakdown with the estimated hours is on our website, which we will share, right? Yeah. So week one, this is how my week one would look like. So like I said, as you guys can see on the study content, that introduction will take me 2 hours. So okay, let's start from scratch. So after plotting my important, or rather my personal schedules, right, which is obviously my work, I have work from 9 to 5. So I basically booked those slots for work because I'll be at work, so I will not have time to study or anything else. And then usually on a Thursday, what I do is at 7 to 8, I have Bible study. So I've already blocked that out. And then Sundays, I've blocked that out for church, right? And then you will see that there's also like activities here and there. Like maybe Saturday, I have netball from 12 to 2. So that slot is already blocked out. And then I have to visit a friend at 6 to 7. So that slot is also blocked out. And then after blocking out all my personal slots, I then went back to the content summary, and then I saw, good, okay, for introduction, it will take me 2 hours. So I go back to my week one, and then I see, okay, in week one, which 2 hours can I slot for introduction? And then I use Monday to do that. I mean, someone else can use Tuesday. Yeah, we can use different slots. But for myself, I just thought, could say 7 to 8 will be my first slot, and then from 6 to 7 again would be my second slot. And like that, I would have covered the 2 hours that was estimated for introduction. I hope I'm making sense. I hope you guys follow. Please do stop me if you guys don't understand what I'm talking about. I'll
Yes,
be
just
happy.
one
Yes,
point, and maybe
yes, yes,
you
yes.
guys can just send something in the chat. So some people obviously like studying in the morning. I know some
Yeah,
students wake up at 4 o'clock and they do their studying because they know in the evening they just want to vegetate and watch TV.
yeah.
Whereas other people might, they're not morning people. Like you can't get out of bed before
Mm.
7 o'clock, and then you got work, and then you might find the evenings are better for you. So you will adjust this plan according to what works for you. I think that's quite important. Okay.
Yeah. Very true, true. And also just to add on what Clay said, you might find that during the week does not work for you. So you might want to slot your hours during your weekends, or you might find that weekends don't work for you. You want to do everything during your week, during the week. So you definitely will adjust it as to what works for you. So yeah, that's also another point. And then as you guys can see here, so I used basically Monday to Friday to go through the content, right? And then Saturdays, I would then slot for maybe revision of what I studied during that week, and then go through the practice and apply tests per topic. So that's how I basically structured my weekly study plan. And yeah, and then for topic 2, which is role of the finance function, as we saw here on the content summary, is that it will take me 5 hours. So I then scheduled 5 slots for it. Like we mentioned earlier on, it might take you longer, so you might have to schedule more hours, or it might even take you less. And if it does take you less, that's also fine. If it takes you longer, you just adjust your plan accordingly. So as you guys can see here, there's like 5 slots for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which then will cover the 5 hours that I will need. Depending on which, if you're a morning person or evening person, you can just slot it the best way for you. And you guys will notice that after, I really don't have anything slotted after 10, because those are like my free time, I guess. So that's why I try to do everything just before 10. And to just also have me time, I guess. So that's why I didn't schedule anything else after 10. But you might find that some of you study better from 10 o'clock to the AMs, which is perfectly fine. So that's how I would schedule my week one. And then on a weekly basis, let's say after doing my test, or even Sunday, for example, I will then sit down and then rate how this week went. For example, if I had to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello? Okay. So after each week, I basically score myself. based on how many topics I've covered or based on how much content I managed to go through. For example, let's say for week 1, I only managed to cover 50% of what I said I would do. I would then score it here and say 50 out of 100 or 50 or 80 out of 100, 80% content covered. And then I will then compare it with my week 2, which obviously in week 2, I would always want to do better than how I did in week 1. So it basically kind of like score yourself just to see where you are and where you need more improvement on. And also just, it kind of like helps you stay motivated and also helps you be consistent in your studies. I'll pause here
Femi,
just for a few. Yes.
so if you go through the week and you haven't managed to finish topics, would you then adjust your study plan? So you would go to week 2, then and go, okay, I must just reconfigure everything because I haven't managed to complete all the topics, or maybe suddenly on a Thursday afternoon, I had a very urgent report to do and I couldn't study that day. So then I'm going to readjust it as we go.
Yeah, as you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
mentioned earlier on, you test week 1, and if you see that you need to change a few things, you change accordingly. So like you said, if I didn't manage to let's say I didn't finish topic 2, I'll then take this across to week 2, where I would just slot it here, for example, and so on. So basically I will change
Perfect.
it. Yeah, I'll change it. Anyone with any questions, any clarity, or any comments? And I mean, also when you see that you need to do this at a specific time, for example, I know that from 7 to 8, I need to do introduction. I set a reminder, or I just I schedule, I block a time slot on my Google Teams or my Google Calendar or on my calendar. And then I have a reminder, remind me that, oh, Shumisa, from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, I need to actually do my introduction. And then I do that. Or you can just also print this schedule and then paste it on your fridge or in your room or anywhere that you pass by every day so that you can see it every time you pass by. So yeah, instead of just having it on your laptop, because you might also just never open it. So having either a reminder remind you every day, or printing it out and just having pasted somewhere where it's going to be very visible for you, it's going to be helpful just so that you know what to do when. So that's how I would basically slot my weekly slots based on this structure, based on this breakdown. So similar thing for week 2. I wanted to finish 2 topics in this week, and these 2 topics both I'll need 5 hours for both topics. So that's why you would see that for this topic, it's scheduled 5 times because I will need 5 hours to get through this topic, and the same for this topic. And yeah, and then like I said, usually Saturdays I'll go through my tests and revision, and yeah, and also it's very, very, very important to actually book your exam. I think someone mentioned it on the chat, to actually commit on a date to book your exam, because once you have a date, it kind of really directs you, and it kind of like motivates you because you have something that you're working towards, and you have something that you want to achieve. And if you have, let's say, birthday celebrations that you need to attend to, you just also book that so that you know that on these specific time slots you actually booked, or you don't have anything, or you're free, or you have something going on, so that you don't clash your personal stuff with your work schedule. And it's the similar approach for week 3, where you're also very important to always like weekly rate yourself, how you did this week, and also just compare it with the previous week and see, kind of like identify areas of improvement and all that. And then also adjust as you go. It might happen that by week 3, my study schedule might have changed because, life happens and you just have to adapt. So this is not fixed. I can also just change it as time goes. So feel free to change it and adjust and play around with it so that it always works and suits you. Okay, yes. Faith has a question. Go ahead.
Hi, Shumi. How do
Hi.
you structure the study plan around the courses that are more difficult for you to grasp rather than the easier ones? For example,
Yeah.
the next person could be more inclined with Manic than they are with the E1
Yes.
or F1 as opposed to the P1. Like, how do you structure the plan such that you don't fall off?
So if I understand you correctly, you're asking, let's say, for example, I would be suffering from data and the finance section, where I would need more time to get through this topic, how I would structure that.
Yeah, how do you structure the plan, like with these courses that you struggle to keep focused on, rather than the other ones that you particularly enjoy and would rather spend more time on?
More time. So I would definitely allocate more hours to it. I don't know, I'm echoing somewhere. Okay, so I would definitely allocate more hours to it, maybe like extra hours, because maybe on a Sunday, if I know that I'm struggling with a topic or a certain course, I would literally just put in more hours into it. On days where I thought I wouldn't be studying, I would just allocate more hours. For example, if I find myself struggling with this subject, I will just have to sacrifice my time and slot more hours on a Sunday where I thought I would be resting on a Sunday, and just slot it here. I don't know if I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think who was it, Faith, right?
Yeah,
Faith,
yeah,
I think that there are certain subjects that are you can find like
difficult.
pretty painful or
Yeah.
pretty difficult, and then you gonna want to have you're gonna have to break it down into chunks that you can handle,
Mm.
because no one wants to sit here in front of their PC and maybe study a subject that's really tough for you. But then break it down into smaller chunks, and you just have to have that consistency. So it's like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time?
One at a
So
time.
try and then just, if there are certain, like if you're doing, I think you mentioned like P1, it might be really tough for you and you're really struggling to stay motivated. The other thing is, just to add in, probably a little bit premature here, but it really does help if you maybe have a accountability partner or a study partner or a study group, where you guys are all going through the same type of things and you can keep each other motivated. I think that's also something. I hope that answers your question there, Faith.
Yeah, partly, but more. What I just need clarity on is just how to approach the respective courses. For instance, like with F1, I'm more inclined. It makes more sense. It's in line with what I'm doing.
Yes, yes.
The E1 I find boring completely, so it's going to take me quite long. The Manic,
Yes.
I feel like it's just, who came up with this nonsense? So I can approach it the same way that I approach
No, for
F1.
sure. No, for sure. And
Yeah.
I think that, it's going to be easier to do the subjects that you enjoy. I think that's it. But I think you need to just you're going to take your content summary or your study plan from our website, and I'll share the link now. And you're going to say, okay, let me plot it out like this. But as you start working, you go, oh my gosh, this is taking so much longer. You're going to then adjust it. I mean, we can't say, I can't say for F1 and P1 are much more content heavy courses, whereas your E1 are a lot less content that you need to cover, and they're more practical type of subjects. But you enjoy F1, so you might find F1 so easy and you're enjoying it, but P1 is just like killer. You just want to, kill me now, but you have to get through it. So you're gonna have to adjust it as you go.
Yeah.
But first things first is to set up this plan
Mm.
using your course plan from our website with the estimated hours. And then as you go, you can then judge and say, okay, this is a little bit easier. And there might be some topics within the course where you say, okay, this is quite easy. I understand this, I'm going to move through it quickly. And this is like, oh my gosh, this specific topic is just, I hate it. It's horrible. And it's going to take me 10 hours to do instead of 5 hours. So you're going to have to adjust it as you go, what's going to work for you. And that's why Clooney keeps on saying this needs to be flexible. It needs to be adaptable, because it isn't defined.
Fixed, yeah.
It's not fixed. It's not yeah. Okay,
And
Faith.
also, just to add on what Claire's saying, having rewards for yourself, when you're going through a subject that you really, really hate, or you really not like enjoying, maybe if you give yourself a reward for just going through 3 pages, it kind of keeps you motivated, rewarding yourself after each accomplishment or after each task is also going to kind of like help you stay motivated. It's going to kind of like also bring the excitement within the subject that you don't like. And also, yeah, I think rewarding yourself also through the tough times,
Yeah,
it's
maybe we
needed.
can ask the group. I mean, there's
Yeah, how do
65
they
other
get through
students on
it?
here. How do you guys
Yeah.
motivate
Yeah,
yourself
I'm
with
in
the tough
desperate need of
subjects?
an accountability partner.
Yes. Anyone want to share? I mean,
Your experiences.
any subjects that you really hate or you've done before that you really struggled
Yeah.
with, and how did you cope with it? Tiara says, when I feel that way, I find jumping in a cold pool helps. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you need that. You need to just get up from your desk and go
True,
and like,
true. Get
yeah,
some fresh air.
do something, go make yourself a cup of coffee, go for a walk, and then come back and say, okay, I'm going to give it another 20 minutes. I like that.
Yeah.
Um, anyone else? You're welcome to unmute yourself. Um, yeah, okay. Tiara,
Okay.
you had your hand up.
I feel that what will help is
Yeah.
maybe if you as you said, the whole elephant eating thing, if you take maybe 15 minutes of a break and 5 minutes of work, as long as something
You're
is
doing
going in.
something. That's true.
So it's like 1% of a difference is better than none at all.
None. I like that. I like that. Step by step.
Alwyn says, have a whiskey. It's fine. You can have a whiskey, but don't have too much because otherwise you're not
Yes.
going to remember the stuff that you studied.
Oh, you won't even get to study the stuff that you were meant to do.
You're going to forget that you even were
Yes.
studying and why you're doing what you're doing. I think that okay, only one. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Kind of gets you relaxed and
Okay.
in the mood. I understand. I think that, you guys, nothing in life is easy. And what I mean by that is it takes the commitment. You have to commit
True.
to it. You're gonna have to put in the hours. I keep kind of saying it's like a gym contract. If you don't actually go to the gym and you don't actually do the workout, you're not
You
gonna
won't
get the
get the
rewards at the end
results.
of the day.
True.
Yeah, yeah. Pearl says she's currently sourcing a personal coach. Yeah, for sure. That's also
Okay.
it's nice. You can also be accountable to a coach, so that's quite nice. Yeah, definitely. Cool. Um, yeah, interesting. Any other thoughts on the group?
I think Claire, just to add, what Nikki said yesterday on do what you said you would do,
Yes,
that's
commit. Yeah, yeah,
commit, because I mean you owe it to yourself also, to just
yeah.
commit also to something that you said you want to do, even though it seems so difficult. Let's say the elephant looks so big and you don't know how you're gonna eat it. Like Tiara said, step by step, small bites. You will end up
Yeah.
finishing it. Yeah.
Faith is asking if do we have a mentorship or coaching program. So, with each of our programs that you've purchased, you do have we call them a person that does hand holding, a student advisor, and they normally would call you every now and again to check in on you. If you feel like you need somebody to give you more regular calls, 100%, just chat with us and say, I
Yeah.
need somebody to do a weekly check-in with me.
Yeah.
I'm 100% happy to do that. Okay. We don't want to do that for everyone because some students get irritated and like, I'm fine. Just leave me. Stop calling me. So, and then they
Yeah.
stop answering our calls. So if that's something you want and you want to use that service with us, absolutely. We can help. Yeah. Sesipo, I have a study partner. We took the same. Yeah, absolutely. I think
Yeah.
that's really great to have
Having
somebody that's keeping you
an
committed.
accountability
Yeah.
partner, so
Yeah,
that you don't
for
also feel
sure.
alone.
Mm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, guys, and don't be afraid to use the WhatsApp groups. I mean, that's why we've created them. So if you're looking for us, I see that there are some study groups that are formed. We don't specifically set them up, but I'm happy if students want to set up a group and say, yeah, we're going to do an E1 study group, and you're welcome to post the link on the chat, and anyone can join if they want to. Or if you're looking for a group or you're looking for an accountability partner, post on the group and say, hi guys, I'm writing. Katsuo, you're saying I'm writing F3. And then you can say, anyone want to join me and be an accountability partner? Students will definitely respond to that. Okay, cool, perfect. Do you want to
Okay.
yeah, just
Continue.
carry on.
Okay, cool. Um, okay, just a recap. So, like I said, so for week 1 to week 6, that to week 6, that's where I'll be basically covering like the content, taking notes and just taking in the content and all the content that I would need to get through this subject. And then for week 7 and week 8, that's the week that I would use for my mock exams and just a revision just to test myself and test my knowledge that I've studied, in the past few weeks. So that's why you'd see in week 7, I then scheduled to maybe at least do one mock exam. Um, for this week, and then the next day review it. And also please take into consideration when you're doing your mock exam or when you're doing like a past paper as practice, do it in the conditions you would do when you're actually in the exam room, so that you're actually familiar with when you are writing the exam, so that you know, let's say, for example, the test is going to take you 3 hours. Also try to finish your mock exam in 3 hours and not what you call this, prolong it and just chill. Basically, try and do your mock exams as if you are in exam room conditions, you know. And then the next day, I would obviously just review my mock exam and see which ones I got right and which ones I got wrong and where the gaps are, so that in the last week I would want to also revise it. But also you can see here on Thursday, I would use it also as a revision period where I would just, you know, go through things that I identified as gaps. And also maybe on a
Yeah, go through your
Saturday,
notes or yeah.
yeah, go through your notes and just also make sure that you're still on board, you know, so that you don't lose consistency, something like that. And then also week 8 is basically my mock exam, where I'll be doing mock exam 2. Okay, sorry, this practice what you preach, Lemisa. Sorry, yes. So mock exam mock exam 2, I would do it in the following week, and then just go through the mock exam review the next day, and also Saturday just review and make notes and go through your notes and just do the final touch-ups. You can also obviously schedule more hours for revision. I just thought maybe 2 hours would be fine. And also taking into consideration, I would also have one more week just before my exam dates, which would be week 9, but I didn't add yet. But yeah. So that's how I would then schedule my study schedule. And it's also very important to just always have a reminder of when your exam date is, so that you see it and you know it and you remember it and you excited for it, you know. Yeah, so that's my study plan schedule example. So
Just a
yeah.
note on those. So I'm not sure how many students are on here that are in virtual classes, but this is
Mhm.
also something you can use for virtual classes because, say, for example, um, you have your class on a Monday from 6 until 8:30. You
Mhm.
still need to do
Slot that.
you still need to you slot that in, but you still need to do the work outside of class. I'm
Mm.
sure your lecturer has covered that because it's important that you still go and you review your notes and you do your practice questions and you continue in the same thing. Don't think that you're just going to sit in class and cover all the content. You'll be fine. You need to work throughout the semester as well. Okay, just wanted to share that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's basically my study hub, my study schedule plan. Um,
I
yes,
think
Faith.
Faith has raised her hand again.
Sorry, so what I found very helpful in undergrad is to have like tutorial classes where we'd go over like certain topics, and then possibly the next student would have something that would be insightful for me as well. I don't know if we do offer those with the center.
I can take that. So Faith, what study method have you chosen? Are you on a home study or home study plus or
So I've gone through my virtual classes,
okay,
and I've re-enrolled with the BPP because I fell off
okay,
last year.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine. So I mean, in that instance, we can share the recordings with you. We don't specifically have sessions for each because it's just going to be too much to cover in the semester. But if you are, I don't know, struggling with a specific topic, you can let us know. We can help you out with that. Or just review the recordings of the classes or the videos on BPP. We are looking at this year, but it'll be later in the year, is looking at like doing some pre-recorded tricky topic videos, but that'll come a little bit later down the line. Okay.
Yeah, because what I found is that most of the stuff that we had covered in the lectures, we would consolidate in the tutorials, you know. So for instance,
Yeah.
if I wasn't too awake for one lecture, then whatever we covered in the tutorial would consolidate
Yeah,
and then I'd at least get like some sort of
like a bit of a
comfort.
summary.
How
Yeah,
do
sure.
when I see this question, how do I approach it? You know, they
Yeah.
literally like just break it down from the start. This is the
Yeah,
keyword that you're looking for. This is how you need to be structuring your answer, kind of
okay.
thing, so that I don't start from scratch, having
I
to
understand.
go through the content. If I don't understand, then I need to start again. Or if I failed it in the mock exam, then I need to go through the whole thing again. You know, yeah,
Yeah, I think though,
Yeah.
what I would maybe recommend, Faith, is that you actually, um, you've got the BPP access now. Maybe a good idea is to um, start with the summary lecture. So there is on each topic, there's a summary lecture, and maybe watch that and then have a look and say, okay, I'm quite comfortable with this content. Do the practice and apply questions and see, okay, cool, I know how to answer the questions. And then you can move on to the next topic. So you don't have to watch all the videos. That is something you can do. And then also, I'm not sure if you guys know, but SEMA runs these free revision classes twice a year per subject. We actually have our lecturers that do the sessions, but we do have recordings of them. So that's also something else. It's basically a 1-day program where they highlight exam technique, they highlight important topics. So if you guys would like access to that, you're welcome to just pop us an email at Student Services and we can send you the links for those free revision classes. They're not good standalone. I mean, you can't only use that. You would still have to go through the content, but it does give you a nice understanding of the subject, and it is the lecturer talking about, exam technique and that as well. Okay. All right, perfect. Yeah, any other questions on the study plan? We can maybe go back to the slides. I think you had some nice tips
Okay.
at the end there,
Yeah.
Amy. So let
Do
me,
you want to share, please?
yeah,
Okay.
hold on. Yeah.
Also just a few tips and tricks, just to help you when you're doing your studies. It's very, very important to actually have a plan and actually plan beforehand and not leave everything for the last minute, or else you'll find yourself in a very pressurized and stressful position which you really, really don't want to find yourself in. So that's why creating a study schedule is a very, very, very helpful, as it's going to help you plan your studies. And also just be consistent. If you're saying that in a week you want to do 2 or 3 topics, try to apply that every week so that you build some sort of routine, or some sort of rhythm, for your studies, so that it becomes part of you, basically, because once you have consistency, it's going to be easy for you to actually go through what you need to study. And also, I think we mentioned this earlier on, practice mock exams, because it's really, really helpful, as it kind of like gives you a breakdown or like an overview of what to expect in the actual exams. And joining study groups. Clay mentioned that we do have study groups, communities for SEMA, ACCA, all our courses basically. And if you're not part of those communities and you would like to join, please just email Student Services and we'll be happy to share the links with you for you guys to join, because you'll find that on the study groups or the community groups, they share quite insightful and very helpful information that you guys can also benefit from. And also just seek support. So we have tutor at ibtc.co.za that you can email when you are going through your studies and you find yourself stuck somewhere or you have a question related to the content. Please do email tutor at ibtc.co.za and we have a tutor that will be assisting you. And like mentioned, breaks are very important. You really don't want to find yourself in a position where you're drowning or where you feel overwhelmed. So taking breaks and just clearing your mind and coming back fresh is very, very helpful. And getting enough rest. I feel like as students, we really underestimate rest and sleep, because once you're tired, you really won't be productive when you have to study. So having enough rest and also just monitoring you and limiting your screen time. When you know that you have study slots, please don't expose yourself or don't be on your phone too much, because you will be distracted or you will feel some sort of fatigue, and also just stay motivated. I feel like as easy. It's easy for me to say, but really, it's a very, very difficult thing to actually stay motivated. That's why I think having like daily or weekly reminders as to why you actually started this course, why you started this journey is very, very important, because it's going to keep you motivated. It's going to keep you on track. It's going to keep you, it's going to help you when it's going to help you on days where you feel like, you know what, I feel like giving up, you know what. So just having daily reminders or weekly reminders is very, very helpful. I think Sitembi, so you have a question? You can go ahead.
Hi guys.
Hi.
So I just have one quick question.
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so my question is with regards to your study sessions. I noticed that each of your study sessions are 1 hour long. So would you advise that someone would take maybe like those short 1 hour study sessions, or would it be more effective to say that if you have maybe more time in a day, maybe make your study sessions a bit longer, to say maybe each session is like 2 hours long, or would it be less effective that way?
Let me quickly just present again. I'll share my screen just again. Share. Can you share? Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes. So okay, week one. Let's take week one, for example. So for example, like I said, I've booked 5 hours for this topic. So that's why you'd see it that it actually appears in 5 slots. So I don't know if it answers you. So it's not necessarily 1 hour. It's literally in a total of 5 hours in total. It's just that I've used hourly slots. I hope I'm answering your question, but it's actually 5 hours that I would use to cover this topic. So that's why you'd see this topic is appearing 5 times for 5 hours.
It's just easy, I think, mathematically. But I think,
Yeah.
Simbi, so what you may be saying is that, you know, in a sitting, you have a maximum of, say, 2 hours that you sit for the day. Some people might say, okay, I'm going to actually start at 6 and study till 10. So I could spend 4 hours in a day, which is perfectly fine if that
Yeah.
works for you. But just remember that, you know, you're going to get fatigue. You're gonna start like losing focus, and,
Yeah.
you know, so make sure that you take regular breaks in between, so that you just keep focused and don't just, you know, you're not just studying for the sake of studying. You actually
Of
are
studying
absorbing. You're
the
actually absorbing
information.
the knowledge. Yeah.
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 Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
There was another question
Yeah.
here from Pearl. Let me just find it quickly.
Okay.
Oh, Pearl was saying she's struggling with she's taking multiple modules at the same time, and trying to divide your week up into the different modules. To be honest, Pearl, you know, we always recommend taking one subject at a
Yeah,
time. You
at the
know,
time.
it's not like you at a full-time varsity where you've, you know, you can take 2 or 3 or 4 subjects. You know, when you're studying part-time, and you know, it's also, you don't have you know, especially for like CMA and ACCA, you can write your exams on demand. So you don't have to like study everything and then write all your exams in June. I would rather say start with one subject, give it 100% effort for 8 weeks, like this plan here that Clemis has put together. Write your exam and then move on to the next one. Otherwise, you're gonna split your focus, and you are not going to be able to give it the, you know, the full attention. You know, you're studying this and then you're going into another one and then you're studying something else. That's why we always recommend one at a time. Okay, it really is. I know some of you feel pressurized because you have to finish all 3 before November case study, for example. You can still do it, but do it one at
Yeah.
a time.
One at a
Okay.
time.
I hope
And
that
also
answers your question.
to like not drown yourself with academics, because you will be horrible. You know, when you're drowning because of academics, you find yourself very horrible, or you feel, I don't want to do this anymore, or you just become demotivated. But if you actually just do one thing at a time, you will get through it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It might look dragging, but it's gonna be definitely worth it at the end. So yeah.
Pearl is saying she's an 8th student. So yeah, no, I totally understand that. So Pearl is doing NATED and AF exam. Are you doing your exams in June, Pearl? Okay. So maybe then I don't know, like say Mondays and Tuesdays you dedicate to one subject,
One
and
subject.
Wednesdays and Thursdays you dedicate to another subject. So you've got
Yeah.
enough of a block, you've got enough time that you can get into the meat of the subject and learn as much as you can, and then you say, okay, that's what I'm done for the week, and then Thursday and Friday or whatever, Wednesday and Thursday you are doing the other module. Okay, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, or you can just also like break it per week. Maybe say week one, you're focusing on just this one module, and then week two, you're focusing on just this, and then you just vice versa the whole time.
Yeah.
You build a routine around that. So yeah.
Yeah, perfect. I think you got to just do what works for you. Try something.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. Okay, this week didn't work because I had too much to do. Let's try something else next week. It has to be constantly flexible. Yeah. Okay. You'll
All
find
right.
a rhythm that works for you.
Yeah. A rhythm will set you free.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Okay,
I
lovely
think you
guys.
can continue sharing. Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
I think that was
That was
it.
it. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? I'm hoping that, so just to let you know, we will share the recording link for this session as well as the Excel sheet. So sorry, Natasha's saying, will you have another meeting in the near future about the best study method? Yeah,